Okay, so this was quite long, this video, so I've broken it down into three parts. The first part will focus on Melissa Casias. The second part is Jacob Pritchard and Carl Grillmair, and the third part is Monica Reza. Now, the podcast combines all of these three together, and it's got some extra information added in there. So for the podcast listeners, there's little bits extra that's not included in any of the videos as well, a bit more in depth sort of analysis. And I look into also Jeffrey Cleves, who isn't part of the missing thing, but he carried out some research with Carl Grillmair, and it's just quite interesting point in his alignment with that of Neil McCasland as well, his thesis. But yeah, enjoy, and don't forget to like and subscribe and comment. All your comments are more than welcome. It's nice to hear other people's thoughts on these things. So, all the news of Neil McCasland, Major General Neil McCasland, has brought other things to our attention about the disappearances of people, possibly in relation to him and his research and various things within the community, astrophysicists and such forth. So, this was brought to my attention, the main bulk, the list of names, by, let me see now, Hazy J on the UFOs Reddit page. So big shout out, to the page. I like the UFOs Reddit page, and ACJ, brilliant for bringing it to my attention. So here's a short list of them, the people. To start with, we've got Melissa Casias, 53 years old, admin assistant at Los Alamos National Laboratory, missing June 26th, 2025. So approximately 6:15, Melissa dropped her husband off at the shared workplace of the LANL. She reportedly returned home shortly after, claiming she had forgotten her employee badge, though speculative. Her husband apparently noted seeing her use it that morning. Her husband is a superintendent 3 at Los Alamos. Not obviously, it's a research base. We don't know. We can't go to the ins and outs. It's quite high up in high security clearance, as far as I can gather. So in the morning, she sent an unusual email to her supervisor, citing an issue with the daughter as the reason why she would be late or working from home. Approximately 1300 hours, Melissa was captured on surveillance video dropping off lunch for her daughter at a cafe in the John Donne shops in downtown Teos. So I've got a map up here, as you can see. You probably clocked the map. That's the Ranchos de Teos. That's her area where they lived approximately. Obviously, that's just pinpointed there. I don't know the exact address, but as a rough estimate, that's the central point there. And the shops are up there. So it's about 3.7 miles away. This might be tricky for the podcast listeners, but the data's on the video, and it's not totally. You don't need to see all the videos to grasp the data. So then, approximately 14:15, the last confirmed sighting of Melissa was walking alone southbound on State Road 518 in Talpa. So again, here's the map. Here's the region of where her house approximately was. So we can see there, this is where I've pinpointed the camera footage to about this location. I'm fairly accurate. I'm fairly certain it'd be about here. There's a facility here you can see at the side of the road, which I'm assuming is the facility from the video camera footage. Because I checked the company that provided the footage, everything like that. They have different sort of sub workplaces and stuff like that. So when you take into consideration also, they state that later on we'll find that her clothes were found abandoned by the highway about 15 minutes drive. That also correlates with 15 minutes down the road to where her clothes were. So this is the route here. You can see that. So things to note of a disappearance. 15:30 approximately. When her daughter returned home that afternoon, she found the house locked, but discovered several of Melissa's personal items left behind, which the family calls highly uncharacteristic. Her devices were wiped. Both her personal and work cell phones were found at the residence, but they had been factory reset. Personal belongings, her car, keys, wallet, purse, and ID were all still at the house. So according to reports, she used her car to drop her daughter off and run errands that morning. So what must have happened between that time? Her car was found on the drive in Ranchos de Teos. The 518 runs in this district, as we can see on the map here. Ranchos de Teos, that's the 518. The physical evidence, investigators later reported finding muddy boots and blood in the bedroom, as well as a pile of abandoned clothing on the roadside near where she was last seen. and that's the pin marker there, you can see. So why were her clothes abandoned on the roadside? Question one. It seems she must have walked down that road or something. I don't know. But then how did she get so far down in that time? Because it's a 16-minute drive, which equates to a bit of walking time, really. You probably, average person, like Google Maps would probably put that as about 3 hours or something. So it doesn't, when you think about the last known sighting, returning home, everything like that, is quite strange. So the missing supply. Sierra believes her mother may have taken a backpack, toothbrush, and a hair iron, as these specific items appear to be missing from the house. Another thing to note, Melissa's signature. The woman who found the clothes noted that the jeans were clinched with a hair tie, a habit Melissa had recently adopted after losing weight. And that's quite a rare habit. Like, I've never heard of that before. So I think that's, for me personally, if that is the case, that's quite unique. And it could be a message being sent to say, look, here are these. But then again, also that would be some sort of voluntary thing, abandoning those clothes there, which is again strange. I don't quite grasp that, the actual reasoning beyond that. The police stance. Despite the family's observation about the hair tie, investigators initially stated the found items did not match the description of what Melissa was last seen wearing, a turquoise shirt and a maroon jacket, and reportedly chose not to test them at the time, which is insane. Again, that is a quite unique signifier, that the hairband around the clothes, everything like that. Why they didn't do this, that, for me, that's very questionable. Also to note, Melissa was a well-known hunter and competitive archer. Also, she was a certified hunting guide with the New Mexico Department of Game and Fish. So very outdoorsy. Knew her way in this sort of neck of the woods. Very outdoorsy person. A hell of a lot more so than me. Don't forget the most secretive agencies and projects and everything like that. These still need administrators. Someone has to enter the data in the background, do all that kind of thing. So, just because a job title is as an administrator, it doesn't detract from the potential level of security, because, as I say, all this data that gets it inputted, all the rest of it in these high security clearance sort of projects, someone has to enter that data in, and someone has to be an administrator behind that. Now let's flip this around. The family were under a lot of stress with bills, defaults, and breach of conduct charges. They were due a payment from a car accident previously, and this fell through as someone else claimed the money. It was noted by the family that she was under a lot of stress, and the family seemed to imply her leaving was voluntary and possibly related to this, or these financial pressures. And again, this is mainly hypothetical from what I've heard. It's just, I suppose it's just hearsay, but it's obviously there probably is some element of truth behind this if this has been brought to the attention, brought forward. Perhaps she wasn't in the right mind, and hence the blood, the distracted mindset, an accident, and then a disappearance, maybe. People under a lot of stress do these kind of things. The reports of the boots and blood are secondary tellings also, so no recorded proof, although I don't think it should be totally neglected, as there was some kind of, if there was some kind of cover up, this is the sort of information that would be covered up. So whilst there's no current reports or anything, like actual reports from the police departments, you've got to think about this on two sides of a coin. If this is genuine, maybe there's not reports. If there was some sort of cover up or something involved with this is kind of the information that would be removed. So whilst it's not on there, I don't think it can also, and that hearsay sort of element of these cases, I don't think that can be totally removed from the equation, because you've got to assume that it could potentially have been removed. And it's likely also with the reports of the financial stress and car accident payments are also secondary, so it makes it kind of tricky overall. There are clear factual abnormalities, such as the reset phones, the left a wallet and keys. Apparently there's a reported blue Dodge that was seen driving erratically around the time of a disappearance as well. Can't discount it totally, but overall, if you spiraled into some sort of deep depression, this is pretty much the behaviour you would expect of just running off or anything or something like that. you know, if you kind of escaping, going off grid, away from everyone, suddenly out of character, that does kind of fit with that traditional sort of spiral of a depression. It could be a normal disappearance, but it could also have been made to look this way as well. So I don't think you can rule either side out just yet. I think looking at other cases, if some other cases seem in this list, if some other cases seem strange, then I think you can then go back and retrospectively look at other ones and think, well, if that one's strange, why wouldn't these be? If there's a link between them. I mean, I'm sure we all hope she's alive and well and comes back soon and everything's fine and there's a reasonable explanation for all this.